Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. I really enjoyed that conversation with Lieutenant Colonel Sean Cross. 176 Hurricane I penetrations, including Hurricane Katrina. And imagine flying all through the night out in the dark, out in the middle of the Atlantic into a Category 5 storm. Not something I really want to do, although I'm going to fly with him. And if it's a Category 5 in the Gulf of Mexico, I'm all in. I really have always sort of wanted to experience that, but also see kind of behind the scenes how that all works. Okay, now let's shift gears and move over to someone that I think the world of. I look forward to him being on my show. My friend Scott Coopwood. He's a publisher, and we'll give you a sense of what he's involved in, including the Mississippi Business Journal from the Mississippi Delta. So he's got great insights into the not only the Mississippi condition, but also the Delta condition. Scott, how you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Ricky. Thank you for having me on, and look good to be here again.
It is great to see. So when you're telling people about your company, how do you talk about it?
I just say that I'm based in the Mississippi Delta, and we cover all things Mississippi Delta. And of course, Mississippi Business Journal is statewide, but that's what I tell them. I'm a publisher, a print publisher of magazines and newspapers.
Well, I mean, you got a great newspaper. You got the Delta Business Journal, Delta Magazine, man. I mean, I said this to you before, but when we launched Beach Boulevard here on the coast, we wanted it to be a glossy magazine. In fact, Governor Barber mentioned it to me the other day. He remembers how inspired he was by it, because one of my missions in publishing that magazine was I wanted people in coastal Mississippi to be able to see the Mississippi Gulf Coast and in a recovery framework and not have to see any destruction. I wanted them only to see the best about what was happening in rebuilding. But Delta Magazine it's a great, great magazine. Man, you guys, your team, you're able to capture sort of the culture, the beauty of that place. You got to be proud of your team.
Oh, I am, Ricky, and as you know, as a former publisher yourself, it's not really about you. It's who is helping you achieve the mission. And if you don't have the right players in place, then your product is not too good. So I've been real lucky over the years to put a really good team together, and many of them with me for 20 years. And it's the team effort, absolutely.
So Mississippi Business Journal, what a great undertaking this has been. I mentioned to you off the air that I have been watching it closely. I look forward to it when I get it. It's full of great stories of leaders, of companies and others that are just doing so much work in the private sector to build a better Mississippi. It looks like it's an advertising success as well. The Business Journal has been a really great undertaking for you, hasn't it?
It has, Ricky. It just fell in my lap. I called one day from the guys that have the Tupelo newspaper, and they said, we're interested in selling the Mississippi Business Journal and buying it. And I thought, and by that point, no, not really. I'm kind of set here in Cleveland, and I don't know about that. But anyway, I met with them, and thank goodness I did, because they gave me a very fair deal with it, and we bought it and more or less moved it in the direction that I thought it should go. The previous owners did a good job, but it's different now under our watch, and we're truly trying to make it statewide. If you look, we have articles from Tupelo to Gulfport to Natchez to back up through the Delta all over the state, and the response has been really, really good with that approach.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that they were getting rid of it, because to me it was a great diversification of their business model. But it was that's what they wanted to do, and you got the benefit of that. I mean, there's still such an appetite in the state for statewide coverage. I mean, listen, SuperTalk Mississippi, there's not a brand like it in America. What they've been able to build there, and the opportunity we have to have conversations like the one we're having today that touch people from across the state of Mississippi is an amazing thing. And there's still an incredible thirst for that. The SuperTalk Mississippi News effort and the work that they're doing, what you're doing with the Mississippi Business Journal, still an incredibly good sense of that. But given that your business had been mostly built on the foundation of the Mississippi Delta, what a great way the Mississippi Business Journal has given you to kind of diversify your overall business model and also kind of learn more about this great state. I mean, that's been a cool thing in and of itself, hasn't it?
It has, Ricky. I'll tell you one benefit that I had is when I graduated from Ole Miss, I moved straight to Jackson. I lived in Jackson for 10 years. And those were the days of Leland Speed and all the Bob Harrington at Mississippi Valley Gas, we used to call it, and all those men. And, you know, they were sort of my mentors back in the day. And I learned a lot from that group. And by living in Jackson all those years, I kept connections and still have them. And I'm still down there all the time. And so, you know, I have seen sort of what Mississippi is about, not just the Delta, but what the whole state is about and how it all goes together. So that was a benefit for me to live in Jackson right after college.
Hey, listen, we talk a lot about this, and that is that Mississippi's having great success when it comes to economic development. That's very true. I mean, we're setting records. We're doing great when it comes to education and so on. But one of the things that strikes me in reading the Mississippi Business Journal and the stories of so many incredible entrepreneurs and business owners and CEOs and others is that at the foundation of Mississippi, across every single county of this state, are business leaders that are grinding it out every day to make, to employ people, to pay taxes, to build better communities, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, if there's a bread and butter of Mississippi, it's built in the businesses of Mississippi, isn't it?
Yes, and that also, Ricky, it shows you the commitment of people, very talented people, that may live in some of the poorest counties in Mississippi, could live anywhere else and make a living, probably have a better shot at making a larger living somewhere else, but they're committed to building their communities and improving their communities. And to me, that is a specialness about this whole state.
It really is. I mean, one of the things I said often after Hurricane Katrina, one of the things we learned is that buildings don't make a community, the people do. And Absolutely. Whether you experience a hurricane or just live in a county you love or a city you love, you know that it's the people. It's what's in the heart and soul of us. That's the reason you do what you do. And, once you understand that, then you really get what Mississippi is all about. And it's really a beautiful thing. Hey, speaking of the Mississippi Delta, Delta farmers have had some tough sledding recently. What's your read on kind of where we are?
Well, Ricky, we always said that the Delta is agriculture and agriculture is the Mississippi Delta. It's the economic driver of our region of Mississippi. And when our farmers do well, all of us do poorly as well. So, we always pull for our farmers and all that. But the tariff situation, just my view, it's just awful. And it is really hurting our farmers. Now, supposedly, it's warranted, and then the years to come, as the tariffs play out, it's going to help the country. But I can tell you firsthand, it's not helping our Mississippi Delta farmers. And, we sell the majority of our soybeans grown on Mississippi Delta soil to China. We're not selling any beans to China right now. And China now has developed a whole nother revenue stream back and forth with South America. And so our farmers are very worried about it. Now, on the other side of it is that up until this year, land values have increased and risen in the Delta every year up until this year. So that gives you an indication of how things are. Things have been pretty good. We're going on 2 years of incredible, beautiful crops. I mean, the best I've seen in my lifetime, but there are no prices. So that is very alarming. But, we'll see how this plays out. But right now, the Supreme Court's going to decide if these tariffs are legal anyway. But nevertheless, I think the government is not going to let our farmers fall. And I think at the end of this year, they're going to get some compensation from the government. And what I hear is next year's check is going to even be larger. So while things are tough this week, I'm hopeful from what I hear that by the end of the year, our farmers will receive some gigantic support.
Well, for people in the Delta, they know this. For people outside the Delta, they may have heard us talk about this before, but the Delta grain debacle was a major thing. It left a lot of farmers holding the bag on some very, very significant losses. And then you come back. We've had a couple. You're right, a couple of really good crop years. I don't remember seeing it so beautiful. The problem, prices are down, as you just pointed out, and then you've got the issue of some of the raw products like seeds and fertilizer and all that. They've had some challenges with all that. When you have year after year of tough situations, it can create some real challenges. Let's pray. My thought is that when and I hope, because I buy into this, that the tariffs will lead to kind of a breakdown of the non-trade barriers that were keeping our farm products from going to certain countries, and that it will open things up. But your point about South America is important because they don't just go one time a year, but they're able to do 2 crops a year, and that's the kind of situation we're competing against. And we need our farmers in the United States to be not just getting by. We need them to be healthy. We need them to be excited. We need them to be planting more, not less. That's going to be the challenge going forward. Let's hope all this kind of settles down and that the world will be better for our farmers. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Scott Coopwood. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. We're visiting with publisher Scott Coopwood, someone we really enjoy circling back with from time to time just to kind of get an update about what's happening in the Mississippi Delta. Listen, I've had family members. I think about Steve Azar and the work that he's done there, but Delta State has a really important role to play in the Mississippi Delta, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Ricky. In my town of Cleveland, it's the economic driver of Cleveland. And it serves a tremendous purpose for this whole region of Mississippi, and the programs that are offered there are second to none. The flight school, the Delta Music Institute, the nursing school, the GIS program, and you can't find those kind of programs anywhere like this.
Yeah, what's interesting, and I want you to think of it this way. One of the things I say about coastal Mississippi, now we've got William Carey that's got a growing presence here, but their main campus is in Hattiesburg. We've got a satellite campus for the University of Southern Mississippi, but their main campus is in Hattiesburg. And what they've offered here is a select group of majors that you can get. We've got Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, one of the top community colleges in the entire United States here. I mean, and what they're offering is really important. But we don't have a full-fledged 4-year university in coastal Mississippi. It's amazing to me. As you know, we missed that vote by 1 vote back in the day that they made the decision to locate Ole Miss in Oxford. But how can a population center the size of the Mississippi Gulf Coast not have a 4-year university? It blows my mind. But here you are in Cleveland with Delta State, and what it means to you in terms of expertise, in terms of studying the Mississippi Delta, the kind of intellectual skill sets that you have there, the economic drivers that it brings to the table. It's got the centennial coming up Monday. But I mean, these are important reminders about the connection that exists between the Delta, Cleveland specifically, and Delta State. Man, that's a really, really important thing, isn't it?
It is. And also, Ricky, we have something called the Grammy Museum Mississippi located here in Cleveland. It is the only Grammy Museum outside of Los Angeles, California. And they would have never landed here without the university. They're located right next to the campus. And so that has been a tremendous boon to our economy to have this first-class, world-class music museum in Cleveland, Mississippi, of all places. So
yeah, it's amazing when I had them on. I've had them on the show many times, and it's amazing what they're doing at the Grammy Museum and why it's important, telling the story of Mississippi being the birthplace of American music and on just about every front. It's an incredible story to tell. What's involved in the centennial that's coming up?
Well, they have probably the next 6 months worth of functions. This coming Monday, you mentioned Steve Azar. He is singing his Mississippi song with a bunch of school children in front of the Union. That's at 10 o'clock Monday morning. And that'll kick off the centennial. But there's several things that have probably already been announced and some larger things coming. But the Bologna Performing Arts Center will have a role in all of these various things that will take place, from speakers to events. And if you go to the Delta State website, it'll show you everything. But we're all very happy about it and proud that Delta State has been here for 100 years in our town.
And listen, I'm so proud of Steve. He was down here as well for sort of the Katrina remembrance, and he's at the big event at the Barksdale Pavilion at the Small Craft Harbor in Gulfport. He sang One Mississippi, and students from St. James Catholic Elementary School were there. My daughter's a teacher there, and I have 4 grandchildren at that same school. And one of them, Riley, actually sung in that group, was selected to sing in that group. I got a big kick out of my granddaughter, Riley, singing that wonderful song with Steve. We fought so hard to get that song as the state song for Mississippi. And, I mean, it tells the story. It's a beautiful song. It really tells the story of Mississippi. And, it's great to see him. I mean, he's really, he travels all over the place telling the story of One Mississippi. It's a great thing, isn't it?
He does, Ricky. Let me tell you, Steve Azar is one of the most talented musicians Mississippi has ever seen. And I don't know if people really realize that, but he is the real deal and just a gifted guy in other areas as well. And, of course, he loves his home state. He lives here by choice, by the way. He lived in Nashville for 25 years and was at the top of the heap in Nashville, but came home to Greenville because he wanted to come home. And so he is a great guy, and he is a huge asset to the state.
I know he is. And by the way, that means a lot coming from you because you've been a musician most of your life, and even got into recording business at one point. You still play guitar today. You might be seen at Ground Zero Blues Club on any weekend, playing some blues or rock and roll. You've got a lot of favorites, don't you?
Ricky, that has been a lifelong passion of mine. Very hard to make a living in it, by the way, but it's fun. That is my golf. That's my tennis. That's my extracurricular activity. And I have really enjoyed it. And, and being here in the Delta where all the music is happening, it's been fun to be a part of that because when I grew up here, no one cared about the blues. No one came here to discover or see any bands. That all started in the 1990s. And then later, Bill Luckett and Morgan Freeman really exploded things with Ground Zero Blues Club in Clarksdale. And everybody else followed. And, of course, with Morgan's name, he was able to bring worldwide attention to the Delta and the blues. So
I was real pleased to get to know Bill Luckett not long before he died. What a loss that was for the Mississippi Delta. Listen, it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Rick. I always enjoy being on and just really appreciate what y'all do for the state.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, man. Scott Coopwood from the Mississippi Delta. Listen, have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.